You know, there's a story in the Gospel of Matthew that has always struck me, like literally, because we in the Western world seem to lose our place. We think too much about ourselves, way too much, probably narcissistic in a lot of ways, our rights, our freedoms, etc. And the story is found in Matthew 20, I think it's around verse 22 ish, where James and John and the guys are all with Jesus, and Zebedee's wife, James and John's mother, comes to Jesus and says, I want you to make my two boys sit at your right hand and your left. And Jesus says, you don't know what you're asking. And then he looks to the two brothers and he says to them, he asks them the question of the day. Can you drink the cup I drink? And their response is very quickly, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Matthew 22. Are you able to drink the cup I drink? They say to him, we are able. And then verse 23 comes with the punchline of power. Jesus says, you will. You will drink the cup I drink. So again, my question is, why does Jesus do this? Why does he ask a question and peels back the layers of their soul? I think he knew that they had no clue what it really meant to follow him. They thought that it meant that they would get, the royal treatment. They'd sit on the right hand and the left, and they would be, treated well. They'd have everything they want. They'd have everything they need when they wanted it, when they needed it. They'd have people serve them. They would be basically the top brass. They had head honchos right under Jesus himself, right? So first there's Jesus, then there's me. And they were like, man, this guy is destined to be the king. We want to be right there. We want to be, if we stick close to him, we could be right there. It was all about them. Jesus says, can you drink the cup I drink? Oh, yes, Lord. Can you drink the cup? It's kind of like when he told them parables and he said, do you understand these things? And they said, oh, yes, Lord. And they had no clue. They didn't know what he was talking about. I wonder if we also simply misconstrue what it might mean to follow Jesus in our day, to follow Christ. Think that it's somehow about us, that he gave his life because we're so amazing and wow, we are so worthy of his sacrifice. How we get to be blessed rather than to be the blessing, rather than to take a low place, rather than to suffer or even lay down our rights for the sake of another. Maybe it's in our definitions of what it means to be blessed. Jesus said, blessed are the poor in spirit. They will see God. They're the ones, the poor in spirit. Blessed are they. Happy are they. But this world would say, that's crazy. They're the cursed ones, the ones that are all poor. I think of the early church, serving the poor, ministering to the broken, the dying, the vulnerable, being there during the bubonic plague, being there during the Spanish flu, even dying, giving their lives so that others could die with dignity. Can you drink the cup? Well, what's in the cup of Christ anyway? Betrayal, loneliness, rejection, pain, the scourging post, the cross, death itself. Jesus hits them with those two words, you will. They had a little idea of what that meant. You will drink it. If you want to follow Christ, you will drink it. You will partake of it. You want to be more like Christ? You can expect to experience some suffering. You can expect to experience some of what Christ went through. The scripture says that Christ learned obedience through suffering, Hebrews 5:8. Should we think that we can somehow slide by with cotton candy doctrine and gingerbread prosperity because we think it's all about us, thinking we should live our best life right now. Christian, your best life is yet to come. This is not to be heaven on earth. It's to serve, live for others. Live this life in service of Christ, serving Christ by serving others. That is what it's about, loving God and loving people. So should we take from his hand a cup of blessing and not receive the cup of suffering when it comes? A lot of this is in our definitions and in our theology, which Paul tells Timothy in 4:16, 1 Timothy 4:16. He says to be sure of it, to watch your doctrine closely. I say the same thing. Understand what you're thinking and why you're thinking it. Watch your doctrine closely.